Hello, YouTube. Remember when I said I was going to look at Tron Uprising some more? Yeah, that was only for 2 weeks. Now we're going to be looking at least 5 shows that are ending very, very soon. So, yeah, hope you had fun with that whole 2 weeks of Tron Uprising. It's kind of all that we got from it for now. Because we got at least 5, maybe 6 shows to look at. So, yeah, it's gonna take a while. Um, but I am going to start off with probably my favorite superhero show that's been on TV currently, Legends of Tomorrow. So, yeah, this show is great. Um, Now, okay, so what's going on in this show is a lot of characters from the show The Flash and the show The Arrow, which is awesome. A lot of characters from that show are now coming together. That is so awesome to me. It's feeling like watching season 4 of Arrow was actually worth it. So, yeah, these characters from these two shows are coming together to do what? Go onto a spaceship led by Rip Hunter. Also, Rip Hunter is on the show. That is awesome. About time he gets some credit. Um, and they're going through time to stop Vandal Savage. I have no idea what could go wrong with this plan. Yeah, they're getting some sorta heroes, anti-heroes, and even villains together to stop Vandal Savage. Truly, this plan is foolproof. So, yeah, they get all these guys together. All the people that they get together are Hawkman, Hawkgirl, Rip Hunter, of course, because he's the one in charge. It's his ship. Um, Sarah Lance, who is now going under the name White Canary. Yeah, I don't know where she got that name. Um, we also got Heatwave, also known as Mick. We got Captain Cold, also known as Snart or Leonard, depending on which name you want to call him. Um, and we got the Atom, um, and we also got Firestorm. So we got all these guys coming together on the Wave Rider, which is a pretty awesome ship, and they're pretty much just trying to stop Vandal Savage through time. And as you would expect, the end of the show does end with them finally stopping him. Or at least that's the end of season 1. Now, they do have more coming. They make that very apparent, even bringing in the Justice Society of America. How awesome is that? Um, but one thing I really do like about this show is that they find ways of taking stuff that I usually wouldn't like in TV shows and other shows that do this. Like, I've seen the time traveling to the West thing. I have seen that so many times. I saw that on Back to the Future Part 2. Part 3, sorry. It's been done there. It has been done even on Justice League, the animated show. So, I've seen this before, and frankly, I'm kind of tired of this scenario. Because I'm not really a fan of the westerns. I think they're okay. I just I'm not the biggest fan of them. I take them or leave them depending on how they go. But surprisingly, for the western that happened with this show, I actually really liked it. One thing that they added in was John Hex, which is awesome. I'm glad they added in John Hex. That explains a little bit of the time traveler thing he was talking about in Justice League. I had no idea what he was talking about there. Really, I just heard him say, "Oh yeah, time travelers. I know about them." Yeah, I had no idea what he was talking about there. Now I do. That's kind of cool. And that was actually really the episode where I got intrigued on this show. Now there were other episodes that I thought they did some pretty ballsy moves, but for the most part, that one in the West is actually one that got me really intrigued in what they were doing and actually did show me that they could have fun with this idea. And after that, they kind of continued on doing that. And it's not only that they would use these scenarios that overall would be kind of cliche, but the way they execute them are pretty good. Another thing that they would do is they would take really ballsy moves. What do I mean by this? They would kill off main characters for quite a while. So, yeah, they would kill off main characters. I was shocked when they do this. I mean, they killed Carter at like episode 3. Sure, he comes back, but it's not the same Carter. It's a different incarnation. It's from the future. So, yeah, they killed him. That, I'm still shocked that they did. I honestly thought it was really, really risky to kill him off there, and I think it paid off in their favor. Um, another thing another death that supposedly happened on the show, but I still did really find surprising, was the death of Heatwave. Now, they do make it appear as he died, because, we need suspense, but, yeah, he didn't really die. Turns out Snart couldn't do it. And with their backstory, it does make sense, so I am fine with that. The only thing that gets me is that why was Kronos, who turned out to be Mick Rory, sorry, spoiler, Mick Rory's Kronos, if he turned out to be Kronos, why would Kronos attack them before they got to the position where Mick Rory was already frozen? Why would he try and kill them there? Wouldn't that just end up in stopping his existence? Just saying. Could happen. Or is this like a Terminator thing, where if you go back in time, then you don't need to go back in time, thus meaning that you didn't go back in time, that meaning that you have to go back in time? I'm so very confused on how Terminator timeline works. And how this timeline works now, because I'm really questioning how and why Kronos was just deciding, I'm gonna just attack them. I know my younger self that I kind of need around for me to become Kronos is still on there, but, I want to attack them today. I'm just in the mood. So, yeah, killing off their main characters actually does happen quite a bit on the show. The latest one that's been killed, and to me, kind of one of the saddest, is Leonard Stark. And, yeah, his death was very recent, but I don't really see a way they can bring him back. So, yeah, Captain Cold might be dead now. That that's kind of sad. Thanks, Legends of Tomorrow. I actually liked Captain Cold, and you just kill him. I know that's kind of what we're supposed to be feeling right now, but come on, guys, it's Captain Cold. So, yeah, they do kill off quite a few main characters in the show. Granted, half of them come back, but a pretty good amount of them don't. So, there were some kind of interesting things going on with this. And then we also have the characters on the show. Now, what I really do like about this is what they can do with them. Now, I don't mean like all the characters and their developments and stuff. That's good. But we've kind of already seen their developments. We've already seen that on other shows. And this show sort of knows that. So, what do they do instead? They team them up. And this is probably one of my favorite parts of the show, is the teaming up of tons of different characters. One moment you'll see White Canary, fighting alongside Rip Hunter, then you'll see her fighting alongside Leonard Snart. The team-ups can go any way, and that's what I really do like about it. They do have ways of making these team-ups very creative, and I do like seeing them. Seeing the characters interact off each other is pretty cool. Probably one of my favorites that have happened is the one with the Atom and Heatwave. That's just a pretty awesome team-up. I really do love that one. So, I really do love all these team-ups that they get to do on this show. It's probably one of the main things that I really like about it. Um, Now, one thing that might push people away from this show is that the first two episodes I thought were meh. Yeah, the first two were just kind of episodes. There wasn't really anything that great about them. So, yeah, it does take a little bit, or at least for someone like me, to get intrigued in it. But to me, once they killed off Carter, that was where I was just like, okay, you got my attention. What else are you gonna do? And then when they got to the West episode, that was just like, yeah, okay, you got me. I'm a fan now. So, I really do like how they did that. Now, for the characters, they of course do have rather long backstories, which could take up a whole entire vlog on their own. But I'm just going to be hoping here that you have seen the other shows and you know their backstory. So the only character that gets a new backstory on the show really is Rip Hunter, who is a time master. Yeah, I was really about ready to say Time Lord. I'm sorry. Time Lord, Time Master. They sound so alike. They have sort of similar things going on with them. They travel through time and stuff. Am I the only one who made the connection to Doctor Who at all? He even wears an overcoat. I mean, come on. There are connections. And Rip Hunter pretty much is trying to avenge the death of his family at the hands of Vandal Savage. And he goes back to Vandal Savage's first incarnation, first um, time, the very first time that he was actually mortal. Now, what I really don't get about this show is why do they have to go back to random times to stop Vandal Savage? What I really don't get is why not just go to his very first, go back to the very first time Kendra and Connor were reincarnated. That will be when Vandal Savage is at his weakest, and then you can make sure that Kendra and Connor are still alive. So then, all you gotta do is let Kendra come in with her mace. Oh, and also Kendra got her mace. That was awesome. I really love when they were starting to make that. That was so cool. Sorry, I'm a total nerd, but that is awesome. I really do love seeing that mace come into play. And when Thanagarians are coming in, and they actually do tie back to the Egyptian era, that is so cool. I'm so glad they are tying this into this characters. I am a nerd. Why am I doing this? So, but yeah, as you can tell, I am kind of a fan of comics and stuff. I do know about these characters. Granted, I had to look up who Hourman is, and also Hourman came in on the last episode, so yeah, he's kind of the only character I really had to look up on this show, though. So yeah, now Thanagarians are starting to come into play, which is great. I already know about the Thanagarians. Thank you, Justice League Animated Show. So I cannot wait to see these characters get tied into the Thanagarians more. Um, Although what I do find kind of interesting is that the show Justice League Unlimited, that show already had Hawkgirl as a Thanagarian and then tied it back to her Egyptian past. Yet on this show, she was an Egyptian and they're tying it into her Thanagarian past. That's something that I find is kind of interesting. They're kind of going reverse on this, making me wonder, have they seen Justice League Unlimited and are taking pointers from it? If so, I want to see the question. Seriously, if you were taking anything from Justice League Unlimited, put in the question. He was my favorite character on that show, and I demand that I see a little bit more of him in live action. Seriously, the stuff with him just writes itself. We'd have him as like some conspiracy guy. It would be awesome. Please just put him in. You could give him his own show or movie. Make it a film noir. It writes itself. Why do I care so much about this? Okay, so back on to Rip Hunter. I'm sorry I got very sidetracked there. So Rip Hunter's family is killed, and they're going back in time to try and stop that event from happening. He also gathers his team so then they can try and kill Vandal Savage. Now, one thing I really don't get about him as well is why did he go back to before he had his powers? Like, really, where was the point in that? Go back before he... I guess that makes sense since he won't be able to die in any other time, but you could still call in Kendra. I mean, really, could you not call her in after you got that mace and then just go back and say, okay, what was your first incarnation? Okay, that was your first incarnation? Okay, going back to that time. That's when he's gonna be his weakest. Guys, let's go. We're going on here. So, yeah, they could just wrapped it up pretty easily, but then we would have an epic finale. So, now, as you guys can probably tell, I really do like this show. The stuff that they do with these characters, I find is really great. They do develop them past what they were on the other shows. They give them more time and more attention that they need. The storylines that they do on the show are pretty fun, and I really do like how creative they can get with it. One thing that the creators of the show has described all the shows that they've done for the CW so far as is that the Arrow is more gritty. Yeah, really gritty now with magic. I'll get to that when I get to that. Um, the Flash is more of a lighthearted show, and the way they describe Legends of Tomorrow is insanity. I guess I can't really argue with that, seeing as there are some pretty insane things they do on the show. It makes me thinking back to the Bird People episode. Yeah, I really didn't get that one. But I guess it does make more sense with the Thanagarians now. Yeah, just so you know, Thanagarians are bird people that come from the planet Thanagar, and they pretty much do invade Earth, but to no avail. There's their whole backstory. I know there's a lot more to it, but you know what? I'm not going in depth, because that would take so long. So, yeah, I really do like what they did with this show. It's very creative, it's very imaginative. I really do like sort of the ideas that they can get across. The storylines are good. Probably my favorite character. If you couldn't already tell, yes, I'm wearing my vest under this. If you couldn't already tell from me wearing this overcoat, it's Rip Hunter. With my second favorite being Leonard Snartz and Blue Gun. So, yeah, I do have quite a few favorite characters on the show, but I really do like what they did with it. I can't wait to see more of it, especially since they're adding in the Justice Society of America and Hourman. Hope they don't go to the Zero Time storyline, or else then he's not gonna have a fun trip. So, yeah, I really can't wait to see more of what they do on the show. It's been very great so far. It's been a lot of fun, and I just can't wait to see what else they do. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I definitely have more shows to talk about, so I will see you then. Bye.